What is this? Alright, time to get to it. We are gonna be replacing my CV boots on both sides. You can see that it's slowly leaking. What is it, the grease in the boot right there, but they're not completely torn, so that's good. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the kinda expensive / lazy route to fix this. I just put brand new transmission fluid in, and in order to fix either boot, you have to pull the axles out, and I really don't want to change the transmission fluid again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to replace both inner and outer CV boots on both sides. Part number for them is as such. I don't know what this is. This might be inner. Let's find out together. Yeah, that's outer. No, it is outer. So this is part number for the outer. And this is part number for the... What the heck? Oh, here we go. Different ones. There you go. Part numbers for the outers and part number for the inner. And they come with grease and the clamps. As far as tools that you're gonna need, I believe I have it in the car. You can use basic hand tools, but I know if you're gonna be replacing the inners, you're gonna need a set of lock ring pliers to get the boot to fit over. So this is really the only specialty tool you're gonna need. Other things, some may come with a different style of clamp as such, and you need a special tool for them. But these, I've been seeing these a lot, these being used a lot more, and these are just like a universal, no special tool needed. So you tighten it as tight as you can, and then you just bend this over, and then you lock it down with those two little metal flaps right there. And that's what this car currently has, so we're just gonna take them off. Oh yeah, so here is the way I'm gonna do it. So normally, like I said, you would have to pull out the axles, but I'm gonna leave the inner cups in. So that means I'm gonna cut the CV boot on the inner axle and then pull the whole axle assembly out that way, leaving the inner cups in the transmission, and thus, you know, not draining my oil. But this side, driver's side, actually you can take off the whole thing because it's connected to intermediate shaft. But however, the passenger side, that one does need to come off completely, so that's the one I'm going to leave the inner cup in the transmission so I don't have to drain the oil. But enough talking, let's get this car up in the air and get to it. Alright, nitty gritty's done, wheel is off, axle nut is loose. Now what we're going to do is pretty much what I did last time: loosen up that lower control arm, pop it down, and then pull this around and then pop the axle out. Alright, so with the lower control arm unbolted, you can turn the whole wheel sideways and then pull the axle out as such. So this is my Super Tuber tape job that I did to keep my wheels clean from all the gooey stuff in here. So now all we gotta do is pop that axle out back there, and we can go ahead and tear into this. Alright, so I got lazy, didn't want to figure it out the right way, but as you can see, this CV tie is now undone, and per theory, all this has to do now is you pull that boot off, and now this whole axle will come out as such. There you go. One axle a la car. Done. So now all we gotta do is clean out that goop, open up that one, and pretty much clean them both out very well. And then we can reinsert the new axle CV boot on both sides, and then reinstall it and re-tie it down with, of course, new axle CV boot ties. So after some further investigation, it finds out that these axles use lock ring pliers, no, snap ring pliers. So you're gonna need these bad boys instead of that other tool that I showed you, which I bought for no freaking reason. So once that snap ring comes off, we'll be able to take this whole bearing assembly off and then pull this boot out, and then we'll be able to slide the new one in and put that back on. And there you have it. Snap rings off, bearings off, CV boots off, shaft. Now we just gotta clean up everything really well, re-grease it, including that guy, and install everything again. But I'm gonna do this side as well. So let's go ahead and take this guy apart now. Okay, so I'm liking this way more and more as I continue along. Which one was the problematic boot? I think it was this guy. Yeah, look at that. That's where I was leaking from. Okay, but now, normally you would have to pop this off. There's like a lock ring right there. You just hammer it off. But instead of doing that, I can just go ahead and slide the new one of these, this first, and then just go ahead and put on this one as such. So I've already cleaned out this axle. I'm gonna clean it out a bit more and then repack it. Everything seems to be good. There's no dirt or water that ever got in here because it's hot right now in summer, and this happened pretty recently, so I don't have to worry about that. So I'm gonna clean it up more, pack it with grease, install new boot first, and then tie it up, and then reinstall the inner one, and then throw it back in there. So let's do that. Alright, everything is clean now. Shaft, inner cup clean, outer cup clean, or actually the opposite way. Inner cup, outer cup, clean, 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 clean. A lot of shop towels, as you can see. Now all we gotta do is get the new grease. Let's see, what is this? This is the inner. So cut a little strip right here, squeeze it in there, fill it up. I would say like almost 3/4 of it in there, and then the rest in the cup, and then slide the boot over, and then pull these things tight, bend it over, and then lock it down with those little metal wings they got. All right, let's do that. All right, new grease installed. Everything's got grease in it now. Now I'm just gonna, what grease I have left, just kind of like pour it on top of here, all the way around the bearings. Just layer, cake it on top, and then slide the boot over, and that should be that. All right, so running out of light, but you get the picture. So I said I caked it more on the bearing, and all I did was slide the CV boot over, and you got to push it in until it's got like these little locking grooves. So you push it in until you hit that, and this slides over the outer cup. And now all we got to do is tie it down with those whatever CV rings that it came with, and I'll show you that right now. All right, now you see this axle boot is over. I have these are like the universal CV boot ties. All you do is wrap it around, pull it as hard as you can, and bend it over. Right there, if it would have focused. Let me see, better lighting. As you can see, you bend it over and then just bend those tabs over, and all you gotta do is that one right there, that one right there. I'm gonna cut these so it's not, you know, all this hanging out, and then do the inners now. Okay, I feared this might have been the case since these are in fact aftermarket axles. I've had these replaced when I first got the car. The boots that I got, one is correct, the other one is not. So I'm only going to be able to do one axle right now, which is good because the light is gone, and for video purposes, you know, I want to show you guys everything. But this axle uses both. It uses two of the same kind. So it uses both outer cup CV boots for both outer and inner. So since I bought, you know, boots for both axles, I'm just gonna use the other boot that I have for the other axle. And so as you can see, a new C-clip has been placed in by these boots came with a new C-clip, so put that right there, cleaned everything up. So now what I'm gonna do is fill up the inner cup that is on the transmission right now full of grease, like 3/4 of it in there, and then the rest I'm just gonna layer it on right here, so you know the bearings can get lubrication as well. And then we'll do the same thing with these ties, wrap them around and tie them tight. So let's go do that. Alright, 4 weeks later, we are finally gonna replace this side CV boot. So got the new parts in. I believe last I left this video we had both boots on the axle, but the axle wasn't in the car. So I'll continue on from here. So first things first, make sure we have the same axle boot for each side. And these birds need to shut up! Oh, they listened. Make sure. Alright, cool. We got the same one, so we can go ahead and jack the car up, take the wheel off, loosen the axle nut, and start going at it. Alright guys, so just like before, we undo this outer CV joint clip ring thingamabob. We loosened up that bolt and then this bolt on the fork, and then we left, let's see if I can see it, the inner cup inside the transmission, thus not spilling any oil, keeping it all inside the transmission. So now what we gotta do is just reverse like I did last time. Gotta take that clip off, this clip off, this clip off, separate them, and then clean out everything. So there's a C-clip here, we're gonna take that off, take off the bearings, slide that guy off, and then slide this guy off and clean up everything and then repack it. So let's do that. And of course, just my stupid luck, this axle uses a freaking OEM style boot that I returned already, at least for the inner. So that inner cup is actually like triangle shape, while the other axle on the driver's side it's circular like this one. So luckily for me, the inner cup is in good shape. It's just annoying because I freaking had these like 3 weeks ago. So the outer cup was actually the one that was ripped on this side, so I will be replacing that. I will be reusing this inner one, which would, you know, not the end of the world since it's not torn or anything, but geez, I would have liked to replace everything at once so I don't have to worry about this. This one's probably gonna fail like sooner than this one. I don't know, I might just get new axles if these things fail again, because I don't like doing this. But anyways, bearings are clean, axle is now clean. I'm gonna go ahead and clean a little bit more and then repackage everything with the supplied grease. Alright, I've packed it about 50%. Pretty much just made a slit at the bag, turned it to expose the bearings, filled it, turned the other side until I had it all packed in there. So I'm gonna lay another thick layer, just like the other ones, on top of here, and then put the rest in the boot where it will hold, you know, the grease in. Alrighty, one side done. Now to the other. like I said, I just put more grease on the top of the bearings, put the rest that I had in the bag in the boot. Got the clamps on, tied them around, pulled as hard as I can, turned it over, and folded it. And there you have it. That's pretty much how you do that. Now for this one, a little bit different and trickier, since I left, you know, the inner cup in the transmission. I'm gonna grease up the bearings first. I'll like get a handful and then just grease it up. Then I'm gonna put it on the shaft, put the C-clip on, make sure it's in place, and put the rest of the grease in the actual boot of the transmission. So let me show you how that looks. Alright, bearings are greased, inner cup is full of grease. Now we just gotta put it in, but it's gonna be a little difficult, so be right back. Took some fiddling around, but axle is now in the boot with in the cup, and the boot's around the cup too, and then pulled it in here, so everything's good to go. Now all we gotta do is tighten her up, and you should be done with this. And voila! The ties are on both boot. Tied it there, tied it there, tied it there, tied it there. Now we just got to put everything back into place. But there you have it. That's pretty much how you install CV boots on a DSM 2G all-wheel drive with aftermarket and stock axles. Oh, and this nut's got to be torqued down to 165. But that's it for me, guys. Have a good one, and keep boosting.